What's up, guys? It's a moment for me to hit meatless, and I want to talk today about some of the downsides of gaining weight as a raw vegan. Because as a raw vegan, most people, as you guys probably know, most people go raw and they lose weight. And I know, there's a lot of explanations to that. Some of it is a lot of times bloating because you're having less salt. Some people say some of the weight is inflammation. That's debatable. You know what I mean? You don't know if there's inflammation unless you go and get studied somehow and figure that out. You're just guessing. A lot of being raw vegan is, you pretty much have to accept losing weight. Well, on this channel, I kind of go against that. I want to show people that you can gain weight as a raw vegan, or you can maintain your weight as a raw vegan, that you can do any of those things. So, if you guys are familiar with my channel, you know that I'm about 80% raw, and I've been 80% raw now straight for, I don't know, months, less than a year. But I've been, for the past 4 years, I've gone back and forth between being raw for a couple of months and being eating cooked multiple times. But I always incorporate a lot of raw food. And it's not, I'm not one of these people who looks at it like, oh, I wanted to go. No, for me, I went raw because I wanted to see the difference in how I felt. Because as you guys know, a lot of people talk about when they go raw, how they feel all great, you know what I mean? And so much better and this, that, and the other. I've never experienced that personally, but I've been a healthy person for my whole life, basically. Now, since I went plant-based, I stopped catching colds. Once I stopped eating the junk food plant stuff, I stopped catching colds, I stopped catching flus, I stopped catching all that stuff. But with that being said, there's definitely some downsides, especially when you're trying to be big, or maybe if you're a girl and you're trying to be thick, it can be challenging. Because, so you guys might know I've been on this journey, right? I had a little injury, and I had a pretty big injury, and I lost some weight, right? So I went from about 230 to 218 or something like that, and then I decided I wanted to get not only back to 230, but I wanted to get to 240. Now 240 for me is a weight that I held for years. So this is it was a comfortable weight for me. At my training peak, my best shape is 240. To be a really lean 240, now you might be 240 pounds, dang. I'm 6'4". So as a caveat, I'm a tall guy. So with that being said, I set out to gain that weight, and I gave myself 12 to 16 weeks to do it. It's been just about a month now, and I've gained most of the weight. I'm right now around 233 or something like that, which puts me about 7 pounds away from my goal in only 4 weeks. But I just want to say it's never been this hard for me to gain weight before. Whether before I was plant-based, it was so much easier. When I'm plant-based but eating cooked meals most of the time, it's much easier. When I'm predominantly raw, it's harder. It is harder. Now, I have a high metabolism. I have to eat a lot of calories. Plus, I'm really heavy. So, I have to eat a lot. I have to eat a lot of food. And whenever you're raw, that's hard to do. So, I eat nuts and seeds and avocados. And I've told you guys the good bulking foods. But I want to say, guys, if you really if you're a guy out there like me, and you have a fast metabolism, then if you want to be big, I'm not talking about have a little bit of muscle or anything like that, but if you want to be big, if you want to be jacked, you better be prepared to eat a lot of food. You probably won't have to eat as much as me unless you're 6'4", 230 something pounds, but you better be prepared to eat a lot, because the volume of plant-based food is just not the same, and the fiber, there's so much more fiber. Fiber makes you feel full. So when you're eating foods that are higher in fiber, it makes it harder for you to eat as much, right? Which would typically be a good thing. But if you're trying to put on a lot of weight, like 10, 20, or maybe even more pounds, that can be really, really challenging. So yeah, anyway, that's just some of the downsides. I wanted to warn you guys. If any of you guys are on a journey like me, I want you to be prepared. You may have to eat more than you thought you would have to eat. But remember, if you find yourself making the excuse of, oh, I just can't gain weight, or I just can't keep the weight on me, you're just not eating enough. There's no magic about it. You can gain weight if you eat enough. It's basic laws of physics. You put more in than what comes out, and you gain weight. It's as simple as that. So yeah, but I just want to tell you guys that with that being said, having a lot of raw food in your diet so that you're getting a lot of micronutrients is super important. A lot of dark leafy greens is super important. Fruits for plenty of calories and carbohydrates is super important. So I'm not knocking those things at all. I just want you guys to be prepared and aware. If you want to gain that kind of weight, it can be more challenging than what you think. And in a lot of cases, it can make a person want to go add junk food or things like that. I don't do junk food. So if you're like me and you want to keep it whole foods, it's going to be challenging at some points. And you got to be prepared for that. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody. I'm out, but I'll see you on the next one, okay? Peace.